starts now.
And we are continuing to follow the latest on the capture of Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro and his wife after the U.S. launched a military raid, capturing him in his country's capital city. Welcome to 12 News. I'm Troy Hayden. Federal prosecutors say a hearing for Maduro and his wife could happen as early as tomorrow morning. NBC News obtained these pictures of their arrival in New York last night. You can see the former president wearing a hoodie there as he's walking in. Both are currently being held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, and they're facing numerous criminal charges, including narco-terrorism. Lawyers for Maduro are expected to argue his arrest violates international law and also that he cannot be prosecuted for actions he took as the head of a foreign country. 12 News and NBC will have full coverage of the court appearance tomorrow. Again, it could happen as early as tomorrow morning. We're learning more about a deadly helicopter crash that happened in Pinal County, killing 4 people. A witness saw the helicopter strike a slack line that was strung across a canyon before it crashed. A slack line is a kind of tightrope that people walk across at high elevations. And we're now learning the FAA had issued a notice about this exact slack line just days before this crash happened. 12 News journalist Gabriela Becerra in studio with more on that. Gabby?
Well, Troy, that notice was issued on December 26, warning pilots of a roughly 1 kilometer tightrope in the mountains just outside of Superior. But it's unclear if the pilots saw that notice before taking off. A helicopter crashed in the mountains of Telegraph Canyon shortly after taking off from Pegasus Air Park in Queen Creek, killing a pilot and his 3 nieces. Family identifies the pilot as 59-year-old David McCarty and the passengers all in their early 20s as Caitlin Heidemann, Rachel McCarty, and Faith McCarty. One family member shared this statement. They went out for a helicopter ride in Arizona. The helicopter crashed and they never got the chance to come home. A 911 caller reported seeing the helicopter strike a recreational slackline strung across the mountain range before falling to the bottom of the canyon.
It's hitting the wires. That's the same thing as taking a knife through a helicopter.
A slackline is a flat, tensioned piece of webbing stretched between 2 fixed points, used for balancing or walking, and in this case, an extreme sport called highlining. Carrie Grant, an associate professor at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, tells me any wire is an extreme hazard to aviation.
Any wire is very, very difficult to pick up when you're flying. It blends in with the terrain, and even if there's flags or tags on the wire, it still is very difficult to pick up.
The International Slackline Association says the high line had aviation markers attached to it, adding the FAA had been informed and a notice to airmen or NOTAM had been issued before the collision. 12 News did find that NOTAM warning pilots of a tightrope at 600 feet above ground level.
There are resources like ForeFlight or Garmin Pilot that will allow you to visually see where a NOTAM is at. But you have to turn that feature on in order to see it, and then you can tap on it, and it will give you some information about what that NOTAM is there for.
Pilots are required to review NOTAMs prior to flying, but Grant says they can be often missed or overlooked.
Because there is just a lot of information, and if you're not looking in the right place, you don't see the information that you need.
Grant adds flying in low-level environments often presents more obstacles for pilots.
We don't know what he did, but he was probably very familiar with the route and didn't expect changes like the slack line to be there in the route.
The NTSB is conducting a full investigation of this crash. Troy?
Yeah, and this line, you said some 600 feet up. It seems like an incredibly dangerous sport to begin with. They walk across that line?
That's right. They walk across the line, sometimes doing different balancing acts across of it. It's a hobby that many people have, and it's often quite dangerous as well.
All right, Gabriela, thank you very much. A man dies nearly a week after he was shot in the head in a quadruple shooting on a crowded downtown Phoenix sidewalk. Police say 21-year-old Eos Belamahote died from his injuries yesterday. He and 3 women were shot just after 2 in the morning on December 28th. It's right after the bars got out in kind of a nightclub area of downtown near Washington and First Street. The women are expected to survive. 22-year-old Keon Joubert was arrested the next day as the shooter. Police say he got into a fight with somebody outside the bar. He left but came back with a gun and opened fire. He's facing multiple felony charges and can now face a murder charge. A shooting in Avondale today happened just after 2 this afternoon. Crews found a man who'd been shot near 113th Avenue and Hawley Street. He was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. We don't know if a suspect has been identified at this point. The investigation is still underway. 2 other people recovering after they were shot at a bar late last night in Tolleson. Happened just after 11 p.m. at the Long Branch Saloon near 107th Avenue in Buckeye. No word yet on why any possible suspect would have done this, what led up to the shooting, but both people who were shot are expected to survive. Meteorologist Chris Dunn joins us now. A beautiful weekend of weather, but you say we're getting ready to cool down a bit.
Yeah, and it's about time because, Troy, I just looked at the numbers. We have been above average for 29 days in a row, taking the high and the low and averaging that all together. So it's not just the warm afternoons, it's also the very mild overnights. For today, for example, 73 and 53 above the average numbers of 66 and 45. But we will be coming down from those, at least the daytime highs. 70 degrees on Tuesday, back down into the mid 60s and actually below average for a change on Friday with a high of 66 degrees. And we'll also add in a little chance of some rain coming in. We've shifted it from Wednesday into Thursday right now. So Thursday, a chance for some widely scattered showers. For tomorrow, we start out in the mild zone, mid 50s, ending up close to, but not quite 70 degrees. The sun comes up at 7:33. We'll talk about the rain and the chance of snow in the high country and how things are all going to come together over the next coming days and the next week ahead. That's coming up in just a few minutes. Troy.
All right, we'll see you then, Chris. Thank you. Tonight, there's a new increased reward of $20,000 for a mysterious East Valley murder case. 19-year-old Rachel Hansen shot and killed inside her Gilbert apartment back in June of 2022. And now, all these years later, still, no arrest has been made, no suspect has been named. 12 News journalist Tricia Hendricks spoke with her parents and has the latest on this case.
It's hard to begin a new year without a loved one, especially someone who was taken far too soon in an unthinkable way. Now, 3.5 years after 19-year-old Rachel Hansen was shot and killed inside her Gilbert apartment, her beautiful photos with her horse, boots, and photo albums are still front and center inside her family's living room. But still, no arrests have been made. And from time to time, her parents, Todd and Kim, will meet someone that hasn't heard about the case.
Residents of our community and surrounding communities need to know that this tragedy happened.
They will never forget the heart-wrenching news Gilbert police gave them in June of 2022.
Somebody went into her apartment, the apartment's right across from Santan Mall, at 2 in the morning, shot her one time and then left. There was no assault or struggle or anything. They didn't take anything. She, being the strong-willed girl that she was, jumped out of bed, grabbed her cell phone and called 911 herself and said, "I've been shot. Please help."
Rachel was taken to the hospital where doctors operated on her.
They tried to save her life, but there was just too much damage.
As Gilbert police detectives continue to investigate, Rachel's parents are left with more questions than answers, but continue to look for photos and videos of her, remembering the precious memories they shared.
You don't realize until you lose a child how valuable those are.
They're currently working with a private investigator. They also recently raised the silent witness reward amount by $5,000 using their own money, and donations specifically contributed to help solve their daughter's murder. The reward now tallying $20,000 for any information leading to an arrest.
Somebody knows something. We just hope somebody will step up and talk.
For now, Rachel's parents are comforted by this sweet new rescue they just took in, busy with the animal rescue they created to honor Rachel's memory.
But it has helped us occupy our minds and our hearts
as they begin a new year.
I just want people to realize the importance of life, and it can be taken so quickly.
They're hoping this will be the year of getting answers.
That's what we're counting on.
Tricia Hendricks, 12 News.
They're hoping this increased reward money will really help this out. If you have any information tied to Rachel Hansen's murder, you could receive a reward of up to $20,000. Just call Silent Witness at 480-WITNESS, and you can remain anonymous.